So we're closing today's conference with a conversation that really gets at the heart of what we've been talking about all day. Not the aspiration of building decarbonization, but its execution. In this case, its implementation. Local Law 97 is now real. As I think Kelly said, we're in the game. The first compliance reports are in, and they are being audited from 2024. The second compliance reports are coming in now, or they're on the way very soon. Of course, 2030 is also right around the corner when the law gets significantly more stringent and many more buildings are facing deeper emissions cuts. I think you all know that there's nobody in this city better placed to help us understand where the law is and where it's going tomorrow than Laura Popa. She is Deputy Commissioner of Sustainability at the Department of Buildings. She's also a lifetime public servant. She's been at the center of sustainable buildings laws since way before Local Law 97 was enacted. Laura, welcome. Let's dig in. So I want to start with year one. In 2019, the City Council called Local Law 97 the Climate Mobilization Act. Here we are 7 years later. Let's talk about what you're seeing. Is the market mobilizing? And I think we have a sneak preview with some slides for some of the compliance data. So let's pull those up and tell us what you're seeing and what's surprising you.
Thank you, Chris. So thank you for letting me be here. It's such an honor. And I was just so enthralled by all the panels and speakers, taking lots of notes, actually. And it's great to follow this discussion with a Local Law 97 compliance update. So everybody in this room knows that the first year of compliance was 2024, and it was reported in 2025. So I have some slides, which I need to look at here because I can't look behind me, on early compliance rates. Now, first, you need to know that the filing rates, Kelly mentioned 90, it's 93 or 94. Yes. So, of all the people who needed to file, most did. And we have the job of auditing all those reports. And Emily Hoffman is here. Everyone knows Emily too, right? That's right. Massive applause. So Emily's in charge of auditing all of these reports. And we're actually auditing every one of them, which I think speaks to the resources that have been put behind Local Law 97 to be able to do that. Because when I came to the Bureau, there were no people available to do any of these audits. And so we've gone through, we have received 11,400 reports, and that represents 21,500 320 buildings, right? Everyone knows the difference between the 320 buildings and the 321 buildings, which are affordable housing and houses of worship. So we received those reports, and we've finished auditing 65% of them. And the compliance rates for being under the emissions limits is 96%. So that is very, very high. Now, we still have to audit the rest of them. And, that number may go down a little, but it may not. We're not sure yet. But we wanted to just give you the number reflecting the audits that were completed. So that's our 320 buildings. So we can talk about 321 buildings
Fantastic.
now.
Let's do it.
So we prioritized the 320 audits for obvious reasons, which is they have to report every year, and the 320 buildings are one and done. So on 321 buildings, we received 9,200 reports for 10,500 buildings. And we have a breakdown of who chose to do the PECMs, right, the prescriptive energy conservation measures, and who chose to meet the 2030 emissions limits, which was an option for these buildings. So 87% chose to do the PECMs, and 13% chose to meet the 2030 limits. All of these are still being audited, but an important thing to note is that of the 321 buildings, we created something called a mediated resolution, which basically gives them more time if they need it. and a quarter of the PECM buildings asked for more time and are going to receive mediated resolutions. They told me not to move this, but I did. And then 4% of the 2030 reports needed more time. So we've taken this supportive approach towards compliance, and we are being supportive of these buildings. So we're really happy with these statistics. And a final note on filing, I said it was like 93, 94%, but really slightly less for 320 and higher for the 321. It just averaged out to that. So I think we have about a 97% filing rate for the 321 buildings.
Fabulous. So I want to take a moment just to recognize the point that we're at right here. I mean, this is a groundbreaking, world-leading law. It is a Herculean task on the part of the Department of Buildings to get this thing up and running. And that compliance rate is astounding for the complexity involved in getting those reports in. So I really do want to salute the whole team at the Department of Buildings.
So I have to say, in addition to an amazing team at DOB, honestly, to put that together, the service providers were fantastic here. And Kelly mentioned doing the work of the service providing and also filing the reports. So more than a year ago, we were like, okay, everyone's really nervous. And service providers were particularly nervous. And so we just started holding these weekly meetings with everybody. And a year later, we're still doing that. And it's really turned out to be one of the most important things we did in order to make this happen was just constantly talk to service providers about what they needed and how we could help them and fixing problems, et cetera. So it takes everybody in this room.
Yep.
Yeah.
You might call it sharing.
Yeah, we shared.
That's fantastic. Let's turn to enforcement, the stick. There are a lot of flexible compliance options in the law. There are adjustments. I think it's fair to say the department's been accommodating. There's been extensions, real effort to work with building owners. Has anyone actually seen a penalty? What does the process look like for buildings who didn't file and buildings who did file and are over their limit?
So the most important thing is that we've taken, in my opinion, to the success of this is we've taken a supportive approach to enforcement. And so, as you correctly pointed out, there are many compliance pathways. It's not just do this work and be fined. And so we, as you know, we spent a few years doing rulemaking to build out these compliance pathways. And one thing was this good faith effort, penalty mitigation pathway. So I have one more slide to share. This slide reflects, honestly, the massively high compliance rates we have. We only got 263 applications for good faith efforts. You can see the vast majority were decarb plans, which gives them a little more time, right? If they do a decarb plan through 2050 and then work underway. And for work underway, the vast majority of those were HVAC replacements and heat pump installs. So that's what we're seeing on the kind of mitigated a little bit more time pathway. We set up an outreach apparatus of our own within DOB, in addition to New York City Accelerator, which is absolutely key to helping building owners, especially co-op and condo owners, building owners outside Class A office space in Manhattan, to help them comply with the law. We did a ton of outreach. We made phone calls. We partnered with Urban Green. We partnered with BEX and other organizations to do workshops. A lot of those happened. And finally, in the end, we gave a little bit more time to file the report. That was obvious from the service providers. We needed to do that. And that was definitely the right move. And then once the year finished, we decided we were going to start enforcement by issuing a notice of deficiency. And so what an NOD allows you to do is cure your failing to file. So we sent out these NODs, and lots of people cured their failure to file. And the next step in failing to file is being taken to oath as per the law. Oath is our Office of Administrative Trials and Hearings, and it's basically a trial. And coincidentally, seriously, it's a coincidence, today was the first day we had conferences at Oath for 5 building owners who failed to file. Wow. And the result of that was 3 of them showed up having filed, and 2 of them are in the process of filing. So that tells me that our only goal is to get people to file. We're not interested in fining people for not filing. That's not going to get us what we want. We will fine them, but they're showing up and they're filing. And if they want to go to Oath for that, that's fine. We gave them an opportunity to do it otherwise. Call us, send an email. We'll take your report. And so we're really happy about the filing. On being over the emissions limit, we actually have collected penalties. Now, some building owners, my understanding is made a financial decision to pay some penalties instead of doing the work. So we're happy to collect that money. If they didn't, we have so many compliance pathways that are flexible. If they didn't want to choose it and choose to pay the fine, that's okay. We definitely made an effort to get building owners to buy offsets who were over the emissions limits, and many of them did actually, and then complied that way if it was within 10% of their emissions limits. So that's how enforcement
Can you share a little bit about the offsets, what those are and what kind of money?
Sure. So we created the Affordable Housing Offset Fund. There's been called many different things, but it's an affordable housing offset fund, and the law allows you to offset up to 10% of your emissions. Also, you're required to buy those if you do 320.7 adjustments. Who's doing 320.7 adjustments? Industrial manufacturing buildings, data centers, hospitals, and crematoria. So they have to buy offsets. So we developed this program with Jen at HPD. Beth and Jen were instrumental in doing this program. And they put it together, and basically building owners are paying for decarbonization in affordable housing through the READY program that Jen mentioned. And we've collected about $1.5 million for it, which we think is a success. And, the money needs to be, put towards those projects, but the ultimate result is that we have we are getting benefits, air quality benefits and decarbonization benefits right here in New York City instead of outside the city. So that's our offsets program.
Fantastic. And I think 1.5, is my mic still on? $1.5 million would be a huge story in another city. Some might treat it as a drop in the bucket here, but it's a down payment on a phenomenal program. So I think that is really positive news. Before we move on to the 2030 lens, I do want to note that we will be doing a deeper dive with Laura and team on the data from the compliance submissions in 2024 in an upcoming webinar, so stay tuned for that. So let's turn to 2030. We're 2026 now. There's less than 4 years to 2030 when the law gets much more stringent. What challenges are you seeing on the horizon for Local Law 97 with 2030 in mind, and what is being done to address those challenges?
So the last panel was particularly great to preview this question, right? So we're moving a market, and we have to see what's working for people. But also, this isn't just about electrifying a building. There's a lot of work, weatherization and other work that should be accompanying that. And a lot of, I forget what Adam called it. I wrote it down, but I'd have to put on my glasses to find it. But basically things that you should just be doing. They
No regrets.
No regrets, that's it. So part of it is we need to be vigilant and thoughtful about what case studies are coming, right? And then using those. There are a lot of unanswered Local Law 97 questions that we need to answer because we were presented with those questions in the law or the advisory board, or it's just from our experience. So we're doing studies. They are underway now, and they'll be done by early next year. And the studies are looking at a few important things. One is an energy efficiency metric. So obviously Local 97 is a decarbonization law. At one point in time, it wasn't, right? So there was this whole, discussion about should there be an energy efficiency metric or should it be greenhouse gas emissions. So now we're looking at, should we have an energy efficiency metric? Should there be an overlay? Should it be another option? What's going on with that? So that's one thing we're doing. Because people forget about that in this conversation, that it's about more than just electrifying. We're also looking at how to take density, occupant density into account. So buildings that are really, full up, multifamily buildings with lots of tenants, that's really efficient, more efficient than another building with fewer. How can we take that, how can we use that when we're looking at Local Law 97 and determining what your emissions are? We are looking at something else that's been mentioned here is useful life of equipment. This goes with capital cycles. So Local Law 97 doesn't consider any of that. So the question is, should we consider it? How should we consider it? We are looking at if there's any synergy with Local Law 11. So Local Law 11 is our facade law, very expensive. Yes. So, we're just throwing some spaghetti against the wall and thinking, can we somehow, make some synergy here and use this in a way when we're talking about when building owners have to comply with Local Law 97 or the work that's done for 11, does that fit with 97? These studies are looking at a lot of things. We are looking at, there is a landlord-tenant component. Urban Green did a commercial landlord working group. We never did one with multifamily, and kind of want to take another look at how we support, in particular, multifamily building owners through this process, and the tenants, and what issues have been arising. And then there are difficult to decarbonize buildings that it's a huge challenge to decarbonize if they even can, because the law tells them to. And that's I&M buildings, cogen, buildings that are on the district steam system, and hospitals. That's a lot. And all of those studies are underway right now. And so we feel like that, in addition to everyone's experience, is going to inform how we're looking at 2030 and what, if anything, we need to adjust.
Fantastic. That's a long list. Lots of those items interrelated too. Let's talk about co-ops and condos that came up briefly in the last session. There have been some vocal corners of the co-op condo sector speaking about the perceived burdens of Local Law 97 over time. How is the city thinking about helping that sector and mobilizing that sector?
Right. So in addition to the accelerator and the supportive approach to enforcement, we just funded a co-op hub. We're going to be doing a workbook, I believe we're calling it, with it basically soup to nuts for co-op and condo owners, how to talk to your tenants or your owners, how to talk to the board, how to plan, how to monitor afterwards. And so we're holding these sessions and trying to figure out how to replicate that, just being even more hands-on than we have been. And I think it's going to be important to, see what good case studies we have, and and replicate those. And if people see that it's working and their building's more comfortable and they are doing well on their energy bills, right, that's going to go very far. So right now it's just about getting them in. I mean, we still have people obviously who haven't filed. So when they show up tomorrow, and those are not Class A office space buildings. If they are, that's very bad. So we're going to show up. We're going to show up to, they're going to show up tomorrow. We're going to have to just start from square one, and we understand that and want to. And so it's about a lot of guidance that we need to provide. So hopefully this co-op and condo hub is going to help with that.
Excellent. It's a great start. We have time for one more question. I want to pull us back to a little bit of a maybe global theme even. We hear from cities around the world. They are watching New York. They are watching our new mayor. They are watching Local Law 97. The law really serves as a beacon in many ways for cities around the world. What does that mean to you and the team here, and does it change how you think about advancing and implementing the law here in New York City?
So I was at a conference recently, and a lot of people from Europe were there, some other places too, and they just kept coming up to me saying, aren't you excited about Mayor Mamdani, and just expressing a lot of hope and a lot of fear about what has been happening in the US, which I thought was really interesting, because I try not to think about it, right? And also in speaking with them about what they're doing in building decarb, it's just like New York is so big and so leading, and there's so much money behind it. I mean, one jurisdiction, quite a big one in Australia, was telling me they had $110,000 to like work with building owners. And so I feel like it's us, and we really can't fail, right? Like, this is it. This is our moment. And so I have a philosophy that there's always a pathway forward. This is like a very ingrained philosophy. And so I feel like on this, there is pathway forward. We just need to be honest about it, right? We can't be blinded. It takes time to make changes in buildings and work with building owners, and there's a lot of money involved, and we want to do it right. I mean, we're still figuring out code for heat pumps and things like that. I mean, this is new technology, et cetera. So I think that it's just full speed ahead, and people are watching this. I'm sure you've been told the same thing. Yeah, I mean, again, thanks to everyone in this room, it's happening. And I feel like based on what I've heard today, what we've all heard today, everyone is feeling the same. It's just like, be persistent.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Full speed ahead. I think we're seeing that in the data today, and it's a great theme to end on. Thank you so much, Laura. We appreciate it. What a fantastic day we've spent together. I want to let you all know that we have broken a record. This is the most attended Urban Green Conference ever, so thank you for that. That's a really lovely day to become a CEO when that's happening. I had a great time. It was so nice to hear from all the panelists. I love the way the panels were in conversation with each other. I've learned a lot. I'm carrying a lot of insights with me. I'm taking a renewed sense of purpose. I hope you are sharing that and taking that as well. I want to thank every single one of our speakers today. It was really an incredible lineup. We really appreciate your time today. I also want to thank Ellen and the whole Urban Green team for putting on this event. It's a big lift, and they've done a phenomenal job. Thank you, Ellen. And then I want to thank all of you for coming today. You are our community, you are our members, our friends, and we really appreciate you coming here today as well. So let's give yourselves a round of applause. We also have two very special events coming up this fall. The first, we are very excited to welcome to New York City for the first time ever Green Build. That is the world-leading conference in our industry. It's in October this year. And so we hope to see you there. Urban Green is also very proud to be on the host committee for 2026 this year. The registration is now open. The 2026 program is live, and there are over 100 sessions. So check it out, and we hope to see you there. And then secondly, this year, our annual gala is kicking off Green Build. We're in the Green Build program. So that's on October 20th. It's a wonderful party. It's going to be particularly special this year, situated in the Green Build conference and celebration. It's at Chelsea Piers. We really hope that you can all come. I want to say a final thank you to all of our sponsors who made today possible. Our lead sponsors, Carrier and NYSERDA, thank you to them. and our reception sponsor, USGBC, and then finally, our host sponsor, NYU. Thank you again for welcoming us into your home. I hope to see you again at another Urban Green event. Have a great evening.